I'm here at the Connect Arab Summit 2012 in Doha, Qatar, with Paul Budde, an independent telecommunications analyst, managing director of Budde Comm, and advisor to the ITU UNESCO Broadband Commission. Paul, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Max.
I'd like to start off by asking you, what are the current trends and issues of broadband in the region?
I think what we've seen in the Arab region is an enormous uptake of broadband, mobile communications, and to a certain extent mobile broadband. You see now countries like Saudi Arabia with 200% penetration, so every house, every person has at least 2 SIM cards. On the other side, you have still countries, of course, who are on the lower end of it, but you know, in general terms, most people in the region now have access to mobile. Now, 3, 4, 5 years ago, nobody would have even predicted that, yeah? So we've seen enormous changes that's happening. And the interesting thing is, of course, is the young people who are taking this up. The young people are then connected not only to themselves and around them, but also to the world. And they start looking at new things. They come in contact with Facebook, with YouTube, and all things like that. And it sets a whole range of social and economic changes into motion. So what we still see the problem in the Arab countries is that there is a lack of broadband. And broadband is really what gives you access to the world, you know, the internet. If you look at democratization of content, you look at education, healthcare, mobile banking and things like that, that really requires access to the internet. And that really starts giving that economic development opportunity to people to do more for themselves and for their family and for their villages, etc. So broadband connection is absolutely essential, but it's not going to happen until you really have a comprehensive policy in the country to make that happening. So penetration there is well below international standards, so the Arab region really has to work very hard on broadband penetration.
And what can be done to improve this, do you think?
I think there are 2 elements. First of all, the technology is now to such an extent it's moving itself. Yeah? So there's not a lot of need there to push the technology. But what is needed is for government to actually catch up with the technology. You know, currently it takes 3, 4, 5 years for government to make policies. Technology catches up in 2 or 3 years, but on the internet it catches up in minutes. Yeah? So the times are really out of kilter there. So we have to make sure that you have good government policies that start stimulating, that you use technology for healthcare, for education, for e-government, you know, for the digital economy. So the government will have to set the policies. If you set the policies right, then at the same time you get investors say, okay, if the government starts pushing healthcare towards technology, then you get investment from technology companies that, okay, if the government is going to do that, it's not just going into hospitals and old age facilities, but it goes into telehealth, monitoring of old age people, you know, telemedicine and things like that. Then you really start stimulating that whole situation with broadband. So it's the combination of good government policies, stimulations for the government, you know, get regulations out of the way, don't start taxing these people, really make it very attractive to make these infrastructure. And infrastructure is national infrastructure. It's not telecommunications infrastructure we're talking about, it's national infrastructure. So if the government sees it in that way, then we're on the right track.
And do you think this summit is going to go some of the way to address these issues?
It's absolutely amazing, you know, because what you see is that here are not the young people, yeah? Here are the decision makers. And while we need the young people, you know, to stimulate it, at the same time, we need to get the older people to actually to buy into this and actually start creating these policies. They are the people that are in charge of policy making. They are the people that start in charge of investments. So we need these people. So getting the message to them. And the ITU is playing a fantastic role in that, you know, in bringing on one side the governments together, but also through the Broadband Commission on the other side, you get the private industry together. And combining that message, sending that out to the leaders in the region, I think is very, very powerful.
This is a region of many contrasts. It's probably quite difficult to look at the region as a whole because it does have very strong infrastructures, it seems, in some countries and very, very poor ones in others.
Yes.
How can one address that balance?
Very difficult because, you know, that has to do with political, economical, social sort of differences in each of the countries. But the good thing with the Arab community is they all speak the same language. Yeah? They have a lot of culture that they share, yeah? A lot of heritage that they share. So on that level, you can start working together straight away. Yeah? So that whole content issue in Arab is unique, yeah, to the world. That's where they should harness around. That's where they should bang their heads together and say, you know, what are we going to do? Yeah? and create then a Arab flavor to the whole sort of situation. Yeah? And once you actually have that, and you get people working together and thinking together in the same direction, then other things will follow automatically. The funny thing is, we actually don't need a lot of money. If you have the right policies, money will come in. There are companies eagerly who want to invest in it if you have the right policies and the right regulations and the right tax regime. Yeah? And if you as the Arab society have a vision about your heritage, about your culture, that you can bring onto the table, then you can actually start building that broadband community from that angle. Now, that's different from the Arab society. Don't do that in Europe, don't do that in America, but you know, here in the Arab society, you can use that to harness the events and push that whole broadband thing forwards.
Paul Budde, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.